Power can be found in any number of places. Scientists will tell you that it comes in newtons. Gamers will say that it can be found in silky skills. We will say that the power lies in real thrills. In the play with perfect ping. In the runes and crystals. In every frag and gank. In your personal winnings. Lock and load for PGL Arlington.
Welcome back, everyone. We are jumping into our second series of the day. It is EG up against Aster. And we do have a little bit of a shake-up on the panel as Lizard has left us. And it's going to be Gods instead.
Howdy.
It's been so long since I've seen you 30 seconds ago in the green room.
Yeah.
But how are you? How are you?
Doing really well. It's fun to kind of be in Texas for an event because I spent a lot of time here in my life. So to come back for Dota is kind of special.
Oh, that is really nice. And you're excited for the Dota specifically? Any teams that you're looking out for this major?
I think a little bit of a bias towards some SEA teams, following a lot of them.
A little bit.
Just a little, not too much. With that said, we've watched so much of them. I'm actually most excited to see the Chinese teams because they weren't at the last major. So when you ever talk to the teams from other regions, they're always like, the Chinese teams are the ones that like they put on a pedestal and like, you got to beat them if you want to win like a TI or win a major.
Yeah. I mean, this is the first time that we are seeing a Chinese team at an international DPC event this year. So it is a very high piece that we're going to have Aster here on the mainstream. And God's View, what do you feel is a big key for them in their lineup? How's the synergy looking? Where's the research been put for you?
I mean, a lot of the synergy is the two boys have been playing together for 7 years. XXS and Baboka, these guys just go way back. They're just like always on the same page. But I think some of the new players they brought in, well, newish, like bringing in Ori, they brought in some kind of veteran leadership, some real like star power, I think, as well. I think that's kind of where a lot of their success comes from. And I also think they've changed up some of their drafts compared to what they used to do like a year ago, where they're way more aggressive. They're playing these fast-paced carries, and they're really putting teams like under a lot of pressure with the way they play Dota.
Yeah, that's a very good question because I want to know, Sheep, from your side, how is the Chinese meta going to face up against the international teams? How is it going to face up against a region like an A?
Yeah, I mean, the China meta is quite different. We see a lot more emphasis on heroes like Faceless Void. I know that is a hero that Aster could potentially be bringing out. Same way we talked about Spectre earlier. Yeah, like, Aster's a team that's played Spectre. It's mostly done by Vici Gaming, but that's like a Chinese hero for some reason. No one else is really playing it. I think like they were right keen on top of healing heroes. They brought, this region brought in the Warlock really hard. I think it's quite interesting seeing the differences because like you'll see Siamese, the 5-player for Aster, playing the Warlock and stuff. You'll see Fly in AG, he'll be playing the Dazzle and the Chen. Like it's kind of like different styles of 5s that these like different regions prefer.
Do you guys want to talk about EG? I guess I want to say their new roster for 2 or 3 of DPC and how it's going to look.
Who's this guy Fly?
Right? This Fly guy. I mean,
person?
I've never seen him
He was a
before.
caster, I thought.
Yeah, that's what I thought at the last major, right? Yeah, I didn't know he could play. That's so insane. How do you feel, though, for EG? We saw them not do so great in the Stockholm major. They had that change up. They bring in Fly now. It is back to their old roster. Do you think there's comfort in it? Is it a little bit of a honeymoon phase still? Where is it lying for EG?
Stability, I think. It's just like they know what you're getting with Fly, and they know how to kind of play around him and the kind of, strategic drafts and play style he brings to the table. I think with EG, it's always a question of like, what is their ceiling? Because they can be super consistent. They were, notoriously always getting those second, third places, always finishing like top 4, top 6, even at TIs and stuff. And then obviously things fell apart the last major. I think Fly is going to bring them back to that consistent form, but whether or not they're a team that can win titles, I don't know. Still remains to be seen.
Yeah, like Nightfall had really good words for Fly. Said it was like nice to play with him. It was really good having like him as a captain. He's an actual leader. It's something that they were kind of lacking apparently, and I think like that's good for them. They needed that, and Fly coming back to them clearly showing some good results already.
Where do you think the strength is for EG then when it comes to playstyle? Is it lanes? Is it middle of the game, or is it late game?
For me, they remind me a bit of boom in a way where they've got this 4-player who's like really like does a lot, and then they really enable Abed in the mid lane. To me, I think that's where a lot of EG's kind of success and strength comes from. They kind of leave Arteezy to, you know, play on his own, do his thing, but like the way I think Crit plays around Abed, and Abed kind of can take over games on, you know, in the past, his Storm, his Puck, whatever it may be, his Spirit Heroes, like I think that's to me EG's strength.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of criticism for EG's mid game. I mean, everyone knows, like, we talked about it last series as well. EG, gatekeepers of NA, they are so good at laning, like, absolutely top tier. You have to get past that. But the problem is they kind of suffer after that.
Okay.
Like, I know Seb has talked on it. He said that, yeah, this team's good at laning, it's nice, but their mid game really suffers. So I think they have the same problem, honestly, that, like, Sonics is currently tackling, where they need to deal with that and get better at being like in the right place at the right time.
They play in this region where I think because you look at like the bottom teams in their Division 1 and NA, it's weaker than other regions, and as a result, I think maybe they develop some bad habits, or they just never play much mid to late game Dota except when they play each other, because like they stomp so many games. So like NA's a region's getting stronger, but ultimately they're not getting the same kind of practice as teams in other regions are getting.
Yeah, because Arteezy did mention that like the top 4 is now pretty good, and like they did say that they are having competitive games with them both in scrims and officials. So like that is good. It used to be very, very, very top heavy, and now they have 4 pretty good teams. So.
Yeah. Well, Ori and Abed are on our screens here. It is the 2 mid laners matching up. Their average kills, average experience per minute, and the last hits, they're actually not that different. There isn't a giant change or difference between the 2 of them on all 3 of those statistics. And does it mean that the lanes are going to be somewhat even, or do you think that there's just no way to tell when you look at that matchup?
Hero matchup dependent, maybe.
Yeah.
It's going to depend on and just some of the support rotations. I think when it comes down to pure 1v1 and who's going to come on top, I think Abed mechanically may be a little bit better, but Ori's kind of that, like, to me, he's more like that mid to late game player where he's really good when it comes to decision making and just a bit less flashy.
Yeah. Also, Ori will pull weird stuff out of the bag. I mean, Abed is, I mean, he has his own stuff, but for the most part, I think he's a very standard drafting mid player. He'll play the Puck, the Ember, the Bat, whatever, just like mid heroes. Or he'll pull out an Earth Spirit mid. Like, that's hype. That's fun. He'll play the Pudge mid too. Like, this guy's pool is definitely much more exciting going into this game. I'll be wanting to watch him most likely more.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for these first few picks, you have 2 options. We can either talk about which lanes you feel each team is going to focus on when drafting, or we can just talk about heroes that you would like to see picked up.
Heroes I would not like to see picked up.
That you would like,
I don't want to see Razor.
Yeah, Razor time.
The Razor first, mate. Oh, no.
I mean, there's definitely, I think, some heroes that every region, every team, it's like, you know, your Dawnbreakers, Razors, Tinies, they're just going to see a lot of play. They're flexible, they go in different lanes, so not necessarily anything I think anyone's going to get too excited to see, but it's the way you kind of build around them. I think Dazzle's something newer that I'm excited to see. This hero is really rising in prominence and looking better and better just in this 5 position role typically. We saw it in a lot of the games in the first round early today doing well, so get to see some more Dazzle.
Dazzle, yeah, like I just said before this to Aster, like the Warlock more, but you know what, whatever.
You're going to want to like, nope,
yeah,
Dazzle.
I mean, they're definitely, like, they do have different skill sets. Yes, they're both healers, but Dazzle provides a lot more lane pressure because of the poison touch. You are able to actually have more kill threat, so I do like it. In response, we see a Tusk. Crit is really good at Tusk. We've seen him play amazingly on it. We've seen him get to the late game levels where he's able to get the Wind Waker and like have extra levels of save. Man's a beast on the Tusk. Very hyped to see it.
I like it against Dazzle a lot because you've got like ways to kind of break off the poison touch. Like you can use the snowball. You also get on top of Dazzle, whereas generally Dazzle wants to stay at range and keep poking you with the poison touch. So it does feel like a good response.
We heard from Sheep and Lizard earlier today, guys, about their viewpoints on Razor. I want you to, I guess, give some of your thoughts on it, especially a first pick Razor for EG.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just, it's kind of whatever.
Oh, really? You just
it's like it's not saying you're going to build your draft around. You just kind of pick it, and it's annoying to play into. It forces you down. It forces your opponents down like these certain tracks with their draft because there's some things you just don't want to play against Razor, and you never know where that Razor's going in terms of lanes until like very late in the draft typically. So it just gives you this, I think, kind of flex factor that is very strong for any draft, particularly I think when you're in EG shoes with the first pick. It just you just pick this Razor and you're not worried about being countered because you can still get impact out of a Razor even when it's not obviously countering some melee hero on the enemy team.
Oh, okay. A few more bans have come out. Aster doing the Chen ban, the sheep.
Yeah, gots to do it. You don't want to be playing into a Chen with a Razor. Like the ability for them to just run at you with that is way too immense for Aster to deal with. Like Tiny's a hero that wants to get his blink to come online. Dazzle, he can't deal with Zoo. So yeah, it's quite hard.
Are you surprised at all by the bans on EG? Are they more stock standard? Are they things that are tailored towards Aster?
I think they're tailored towards them because they don't want them playing that like fast-paced Dota, which to me, obviously you go way back and there's always the stereotype. A lot of the Chinese teams playing so more farm-heavy. Aster is like the complete opposite of that. They're generally running at people. They're playing like all kinds of these big team fight. They've been playing the Brewmaster. You mentioned the Warlocks. Like these guys, the Chaos Knight's been one of their most picked carry heroes. They don't want to sit back. They want to play aggressive, and like Enigma, Nature's Prophet, these are heroes that push the tempo.
Yeah, and XSS said that like when it comes to his off lane, usually he gets given heroes that sit in the lane longer. We have seen this prominence of offlaners that are a third core, very carryish. I think this is reflected in both teams here. Nightfall, obviously previously a carry player, he's brought his skill set over very well to the offlane role and fits very nicely into this patch. XSS plays the same. We might see his Enigma, we might see his Visage, stuff like this. He might... yeah, we haven't seen his hero yet. But yeah, they play stuff like that. So banning heroes that are like semi-carries from the offlane, like Nature's and Enigma, I really like.
Are there any other must bans off the top of your head that kind of fit into that too?
For offlane?
Anything.
Or just
like that style that you're saying, right?
I mean, right now they just need to ban stuff that kind of like doesn't halt their momentum. Because I think they'll just keep running with this Razor and like try and go fast. So, thinking of heroes off the top of my head, so hard. For bans, like picks are way easier. It's like, I see how this fits in. But for bans, it's like I have to think about everything that stops it, and then like the
Yeah, I think Dota is such a cool game because there's never like you must ban this hero. Maybe it's like if there's a must ban hero, it's always in the first phase because like hey, there's this OP first pick, you gotta ban it out. But like when it comes to later stage of the draft, there's so many different directions you can go. Every hero has like 5 different answers that may or may not work. So
yeah. I don't think Monet plays like Bloodseeker, but maybe you could ban a Bloodseeker. Maybe that is like able to run at you and like stop your Razor from running around and stuff like that. I don't really know what EG is thinking specifically.
Okay.
They're thinking they want to play DK into Puck.
Yeah, Puck.
They tell us what they're thinking.
Puck's actually not picked or banned.
There is I was gonna say the draft on screen is behind the draft.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
I was sorry. I was
so there is a Puck and a
Spoiler
Dragon
alert.
Knight.
There is a Puck.
Wow,
That's
you
crazy.
predicted it, Gods.
Gods, you're so smart.
No, that is
Look, I'll
yes.
keep it honest.
It was just behind on screen. There is a Dragon Knight and a Puck.
Okay.
Now picked.
Yeah, so Aster came out of the bans, pulled out the Puck. I think that it's decent time to pick their mid laner. They don't know the matchup, but it's Puck. Puck feels like that mid laner of this patch that you can just kind of pick whenever.
Team Aster's turn to pick. Enchantress.
And it's EG. They're going to pick strong lanes. They get the inch.
Yeah, I mean, like, picking a Puck like that, it's so weird coming off of a Liquid game where you know that the Puck would get punished so quickly by a Lone Druid, and then it's just, like, not in this series.
Ooh. All right, well, let's talk about, I guess, the Dragon Knight Enchantress, where you feel some of the lanes are going to be going for EG now, and anything that they might be lacking that needs to come out in their last pick.
I think they need a way to deal with TB with their last pick. Either deal with TB by like having a hero that matches up well against him, or by like having a playstyle which is super fast and runs over the TB. Because right now, DK, Razor, Ench, they push towers fast. They can play like with a lot of tempo themselves and just really take over the map and limit TB's access to farm the jungle by taking all these early towers. So if you don't counter the TB directly, you got to play that kind of style. Whether or not EG can play super fast pace, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, TB is such a good pick here because none of these heroes threaten to kill TB. There is no damage whatsoever that TB's worried about.
I'm like thinking, because right now EG's heroes can go in multitude of roles. I don't think I would put DK carry, even though we have seen it in like Southeast Asia. I'd probably put that mid or off lane, but Razor can go any 3 lanes if he really wants to. So it does leave a lot of like options open for EG on how they want to tackle the Terrorblade. Off lane, you know, you could pick something like Darkseer with the Tusk. The only thing is, I don't think Nightfall plays it, and I don't really think that's his style.
Yeah.
You could just go for like nuking damage. I think Zeus just got banned. Yeah, something like that works too. Lesh is kind of like 50-50 on TB because when he gets the Skadi, he can like outrange and just kill you.
Yeah. It's going to be hard because EG have the first pick out of this banning phase, which means Aster's going to have the overall last pick. Is the one that deals with the TB, but also isn't susceptible to being counterpicked almost immediately.
The nice thing, at least about Razor and DK, is they do well into like most matchups. So you do see the safe lane. So you can just pick an off laner here, and you know your lane.
Yeah, I'm wondering where. I mean, to me, usually this draft would be sending DK mid versus Puck and Razor offlane, so they're picking a carry here. But I think the carry options just don't exist. So I think putting Artesia on Razor maybe makes the most sense. They're good jug though. It's not like an answer to the TB, but this is the tempo. Like you've got another early to mid game kind of tempo here between DK, Razor, Jug. You're looking to have strong lanes and just basically take as many towers and early pressure as you can.
Do you think it's an easy to execute lineup for EG? Are they going to be able to get the snowball pace and going and the momentum going to kind of cut Aster off before they can get online?
In my opinion, I think so. Because, well, that makes it a lot harder.
Well, take that back.
Ooh, that's a cool pick.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not that hard because, like, you can just go the Maelstrom on Jug. You're doing a lot of magic damage against, like, the TB. You have the heal, the sustain, the DK is going to let you take objectives. Like they have a complete draft, in my opinion, outside of maybe some like team fight control. But yeah, that Timbersaur, he's going to take a lot of map space and make it very hard for EG to take objectives now.
Yeah, he's just like the guy you send to a lane. Okay, EG want to kind of death ball down these towers. We're just going to send the Timber there, and he'll address it. He'll deal with it. Like, and by himself, he can to some extent. Like that. That is a really solid last pick for Team Aster here.
Okay, then I want to ask in general, coming out of laning phase, you have to pick a team. Which one's going to be coming out on top?
Oh boy.
Not the overall game, just the lanes.
Aster, probably.
Okay. I like EG's. I mean, I just think Ench is such a dominant laner. And then Razor into the TB should maybe do okay. So
I like it when we're split 50-50 here. But we are going to head over to our casters for the second series. Game number 1, Aster EG. It is Sunsfan and Jenkins.
Yeah, sorry about that. Suns fan here with Jenkins. We've redesigned the set so that you're right next to me so that we can do this.
It's a stench.
Welcome, everybody. This is Team Aster versus Team Evil Geniuses, which we've cast quite a bit of. I would put EG as one of the favorites to get top 4. Aster, they're no joke. They got second place, tied for second with like 5 other teams in China.
That's true.
Which is probably the most competitive region outside of EU.
Yeah, they've always done very well within China, though. That's the issue for Aster. They're kind of like the Quincy crew of China, or the Sonics now of China. So we'll see if this is the tournament that they can break the curse.
The curse, you say?
It's a curse. It is a curse.
Is it a curse?
I gotta
That's
take
a
this
little
off. I
strong.
can't move my head with this on.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're probably sweating that thing up.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Probably
yeah.
can't return it anymore with all that sweating.
That's right.
Inside.
Winners is not gonna take
As,
that back.
You can see production just wants to get us off camera as fast as possible. Understandable, of course, as you did not make it in the lobby, so
That's
I
right.
appreciate not having a computer.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Jenkins, as always.
Deal with that.
So, what do we have here? We got Abed playing the DK, which we saw him do that quite a bit in the DPC. I wouldn't call it an Abed hero necessarily, but obviously EG did extremely well. I think they lost to Nouns early on.
They did.
After Fly got reinstituted into the lineup. And they just didn't lose any series after that.
Yeah,
including tiebreakers.
They crushed the tiebreakers, right? Precisely, which is pretty typical EG fashion in the NADPC. Aster, they didn't run away with the China DPC though this season. They have done that or tour, I should say. They have done that in previous tours.
Yeah, they ended up 4-3, which again, that's tied with 4 other teams.
Right.
For second place.
Yeah.
Of course, one of those losses for PSG LGD, because they did end up 4-3 as well, was a forfeit. So a little controversy with that through the DPC to help, I forget who it was actually, to get in, have a better chance to get to TI. Either way, EG get a lot of comfort picks. You see the crit Tusk, which is, I want to say, his best hero. Nightfall's been playing a lot of Razor. And this is the, like, if you guys haven't joined us in like a year, this is the same roster outside of Nightfall, right? That's the big difference. This is a core player from, I mean, played position 1 for VP not too long ago. But his offlane has been ultra impressive. He's extremely mechanically skilled. And he has not disappointed. Even when they were not playing well, when Fly was not on the roster, Nightfall was still like the guy, it felt like.
Yeah.
Very consistent.
He always had really solid games. I think it definitely helps him that the offlane, the like carry style of offlane has definitely like won out the battle of how do you play offlane. People are really not playing sacrificial anymore. And he said it in interviews. He just thinks it's not even like him being a carry player. It's that he just thinks that's the best way to play offlane as well, which is what a carry player would say.
Of course.
But yeah, I think like every game for EG, like he always seems to be top net worth on his team.
It's interesting that we're seeing some of these offlane players become, well, actually I should say position 1s become offlanes, as Nightfall taking a lot of damage from Monet, and this looks to be first blood. Monet himself is the one to get it, and that was without a meta. Without a meta. He's still level 1, just hits 2 now. That is a very surprising kill this early.
Yeah, I mean, TB Dazzle, this used to be a really strong lane combo when the TB Illusions, his Q and his Illusions could proc Dazzle's Q ability, but they can't anymore. Only Dazzle can proc his own Q and extend the duration of that. So that was just straight up a Nightfall getting a little bit too close there.
That's a caster curse right there. Most consistent player gets first blooded.
Yep.
But yeah, EG obviously having a really good season, Aster as well. So this should be a really good 2-game series as Arteezy has to blade fear. This last pick from XXS on the Timber Saw, panel really seemed to like it. Do you agree with their assessment on that?
I don't think it's a completely free Timber game. I mean, Razor can tear through a Timber's armor. So it's, you know, and then also Juggernaut in lane with an Enchantress, you can get kills on him with high levels and spin. He's kind of past the point where that's a huge threat. I like the Tusk to rotate as well to the Timbers lane. I would expect to see Crit making a rotation up there at some point to kill XXS. But it's also a game where if they just do lane shenanigans up here, which Baboka's been cutting the wave constantly, if they do lane shenanigans, then yeah, Timber, once he has like level 5, he's not really going to die in this game until Spirit Vessel comes out.
And you can see Abed in the mid lane, 15-6. Ori 11-1, so Abed with a little bit of an advantage right now. I mean, a DK versus Puck matchup is something we've seen a lot of. Basically, Dragon Knights don't die, Puck farms. Kind of a boring lane if you want to put it that way, but from both sides, like what kind of rotations can they make? I mean, we've seen a lot of crit roaming. Maybe not as much recently because roaming is not as popular as it used to be, but
I don't know if you kill a Puck with just a DK stun plus a Tusk. Maybe if it was like a Marcy and you have the Dispose.
You got a Centaur creep on top from Enchantress. Huh?
Yeah, that
triple stun action.
That'll work.
Impetus also a pretty good tool against the Timber Saw because it's pure damage.
Yeah.
What about the other side though? Ganking the Dragon Knight, is that a feasible situation? Like, is that something you want to try to set up, or just let these two farm and just be on your merry way?
I don't think the Aster heroes can ever kill a DK.
Ever?
Well, I mean, in the lanes, unless he lets himself get very low. I mean, this is why you pick a DK and put it against Puck. It's just like you need like a +2 at least in order to kill the DK with a Puck. He's going all tanky strength items, which helps this as well. You just sit in the lane. You don't even need boots. You know you're going to get almost every single CS.
Yeah, so that's the DK versus Puck matchup. We don't need to look back there for quite a while, I think. Although Abed's farm is actually, he's getting a lot of denies and a lot more CS right now. So off to a good start for him. And that can obviously snowball into pushing the lane a little bit faster, getting some damage to the tower. But I don't think he's going to get an outright kill on the tower for quite a while. Maybe the second dragon form, but We'll have to wait and see. But what about Arteezy's Jug? As we're going to see a toss back, Baboka onto Crit. Crit. He's going to have to use the snowball, dodge that avalanche. Gets off to the other side. Is taking a lot of damage, though.
Got a fairy
that
fire.
poison touch continue to reapply. One more right click should do it, but the fairy fire keeps him alive as he's taking ever so slowly. So Crit does survive in the end. He spends a lot, though.
Oh, Baboka.
Yeah,
He's
he
got
might cancel the
mangoes.
salve. No.
Yeah, oh, he did see him, actually. He just let him go. He wants to go for the core kill.
Yeah, that would be a bigger kill indeed. The toss back. Nightfall has to go to the south now. As that poison touch up, you can see the avalanche comes out thanks to that mango, and that is the second death for Nightfall. Not expecting the mango from Baboka. Baboka or Baboka? What do you like?
I call him Baboka. I feel like it just rolls off the tongue nicely. Now here's this 5-minute rotation from the Enchantress with the DK form.
Okay. A lot of damage to this Tier 1 tower as a result. Using this on the Siege Wagon as well. Nice timing from EG.
And Ori's not 6 yet. He's just 5.
Yeah, that is true.
He's trying desperately to get coiled.
One more
man.
creep should do it, and there it... Nope.
No,
not denied.
no.
Okay. This one, no matter what, will get him 6. But the tower does die, so I was wrong. He got it on the front. I mean, it did require 2 extra heroes coming, but well worth it, although it is denied by Aster.
Yeah. That was a really nice rotation from EG. Just recognizing that Ori's only level 5. I think if he's 6, Abed gets coiled in the tower there, and maybe it doesn't go down until like the next DK form.
And Nightfall trying to pressure Monet, but of course with these 2 deaths from Nightfall, his levels have taken a bit of a hit. We can see 3 members of Aster here now. Crit ends up getting the snowball off. Plasma Kill trying to slow them down a bit, but looks like Crit will fall. And this bottom lane is all Aster all day. Every single kill in the game so far is in this lane.
So I think this is a big reason why they picked the Timbersaw, because XXS can be left alone top, which means that they can have Baboka sitting down here on Tiny. And the one way that you can beat a Razor off lane is that this hero is really strong in like a dual lane versus dual lane. But against rotations, against a tri-lane, it's not the same. Like, the hero can die. He likes passive lanes. This is not a passive lane. Aster is very aggressive down here. But EG, they're trying to make the counter rotation with the Enchantress now.
And this is the interesting thing when we get to international play, or cross international play, is like, because we've been seeing a lot of EG obviously doing NA. The one thing that they did every single time to a T was win the laning stage. They're just like the kings of the laning stage, and that's kind of a big NA thing. And it's going to be cool to see how it translates against other regions. I mean, so far, I mean, again, looking at just the net worth alone, this is just the tower kill, basically giving them the slight lead. If it wasn't for that, they'd be slightly behind in terms of CS overall, but despite the, like, they haven't gotten a kill, but it hasn't seemed to matter that much as bottom lane. See the snowball cancel TP there, as Siamese Cat takes a tumble. And Abed with that dragon form again, looking for their 2nd tower in this very early stage of the game.
And Monet TP's top to trade the similar tower with XXS tanking the tower. Yeah, these are really nice early game rotations from both teams. This is cool. Arteezy knows there's nothing to cancel out a spin TP, so he can just be a nuisance here.
Yeah, he's going to do that, and he's actually going for Hand of Midas, by the way. As, oh, he doesn't get any of those. All of them denied. Very nicely done.
That's BM. That's BM.
What do you think of the Midas?
This is the jug build people have been doing, actually. I think it makes sense when you're building towards playing for this like late game shard build with Maelstrom. Like, early game, you're really showing up to fights to just kind of spin people down anyway.
Oops.
He benefits from the attack speed,
Yeah,
of course. But I don't know. It's the build people are doing. BSJ's been doing it, ranting and raving about how good it is. So that kind of makes me think that it's awful.
Well, Arteezy's picking. I don't think Arteezy watches BSJ videos. I could be wrong though.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Could be wrong.
Yeah.
Brian is a very smart young lad, of course.
Yes, of course. Very sane and balanced individual.
All right, we'll see how this pays off for him. I mean, it's like a cheaper Battle Fury, I guess, right? Battle Fury just isn't a thing anymore.
Not really. Yeah.
It's like anti-mage and that's it. Maybe PA occasionally, but PA is barely picked. Same with AM. I think a lot of the reason these heroes aren't picked is because Battle Fury is not good. I would argue.
Yeah. There really isn't like another viable build, but because Jug can have a Midas and still do stuff, I feel like it makes a little more sense on him than on other heroes, where a Midas would completely grief you.
So what do you get after Midas? Because
Monet.
I'm action Monet. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. Dragon Tail's gonna keep him in place. The Blade Fury's there as well. And he's just dead. Doesn't even have Sunder leveled yet, but that wouldn't have really done anything here.
Was he on a ward or anything? He's just way out of position, all on his own.
Very far.
Dire's middle tower is
Baboka
under
getting
attack.
harassed by Fly. Impetus off cooldown in 1 second, but he's not going to go any further because the poison touch is here from Siamese Cat, and Ori has come to play as well. That'll lead to a kill to the mid lane for mid laner for Aster.
Has fallen.
I mean, carry for 5. It's really not. Yeah, that's not really a big deal. I think Fly's more than happy to go down there. He's positioning very aggressively, like Monet is on the top lane, except as a carry, of course. You know, dying is a lot worse.
So you know where this conversation's headed, right?
Okay. No,
What is the one thing I talk about every game now? Because it's so important. Which team is better
that would be Roshan.
in the Roche pit? Because we're not quite there yet. Like usually around the 20-minute mark, the first Roche will be attempted. Right?
Yeah, I think Tusk is pretty good at Roshing. He's maxing tag team too,
Okay.
as they do smoke up on the mid lane, by the way.
Yeah. Abed does have Blink, the instant Dragon Tail with the snowball to follow, and the Walrus Punch. Ori from 100 to 0, completely stun locked. And now bot lane, you can see EG starting to ramp things up. Static Link from Nightfall onto Baboka. Don't think he'll be able to get this kill as Baboka will be spotted though by the Plasma Field. A couple more right clicks, but yeah, deep in the trees Baboka goes. So Nightfall going to respect that and just continue to farm.
I think that, by the way, is such a big reason that Razor is such a strong offlaner, is because if anybody goes and just tries to stand next to him farming, he pushes them out of lane. So, like, Razor as an offlaner can just go stand somewhere. If he dies, who cares? He's an offlaner. But if you try to farm 1-to-1 against him, like, not a single hero in Dota can do that. So he can just be such a nuisance, like, playing wherever he wants on the map, getting tons of farm.
Regen rune for Abed.
Regeneration.
Very delicious stuff. Remember to watch the anime, the Dota anime coming back August 13th, I believe.
On Netflix.
Of course, Abed is not using the anime set, so that makes this conversation just a little bit more awkward as the coil expended on the Fly, who breaks it right off the bat and is bursted. So second death for him, but it's going to cost them the Dazzle on the other side. So again, 5 for 5. I mean, based on how this game is going, do you like the momentum that EG's creating for themselves? Like, do they have the type of lineup that can take advantage of that?
We rely not
I think so.
Is Aster still in pretty good position?
No, I mean, EG definitely, like, they need a bit more, like another round of items, for sure. But they have DK form, they have Enchantress creeps, he's maxing out creeps. They've got Jug with Spin, Healing Ward. Like, they can definitely push towers. They can definitely walk into Roche and take it with tag team. It's not practical right now. They need one more round of items, so, but yeah, I mean, Aster's doing a really good job keeping up. They have the gold lead. Their TB is still farming incredibly fast. Of course, this hero, it's difficult to beat what he can do with the illusions, pushing all of these waves. So EG, they're trying to smoke to kill Aster while they're split farming like this.
Unfortunately for them, Timber is pretty much impossible to kill at the current stage.
It's not worth it to try and hit.
Now Aster kind of taking over the EG jungle. So Hood online for the Timber. So from the Jug's perspective, what's the build after Midas? And what have people been going?
I think Maelstrom, Scotty.
They still go Maelstrom.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I
Okay.
think so. It's just too good with the spin shard.
Yeah, for sure.
You need that, and you're playing against Terrorblade, right? Like, this hero, you build any sort of physical damage, it just does nothing. So go all in on magic. He might even go for the stats build. He is on Jug. He's going for the stats build.
Okay.
So
ignoring the crit for now.
Ignoring the crit because he wants to just play around the magic damage and the procs from his Blade Fury spin.
Okay. Puts another point in the healing ward though. So.
Yeah, you max healing ward, you go 1 point Blade Dance, and then max stats.
Okay. Yeah, Blade Dance doesn't really, feels like it doesn't scale. Actually, it's never scaled particularly well. It's been kind of a 1.1 for a long time.
Very solid first point. I mean, it does give you it does give you good damage compared to stats. It's just when you're playing against really high armor heroes, then you'd rather the attack speed and the survivability. You can survive the tiny burst.
You can see the smoke from Aster now. And Baboka, does he have the blink dagger yet? No.
Nope.
So still 1,000 away from that. As Ori's going to be kind of leading the charge, but you can see EG retreating as Aster kind of has control of their jungle at the current point in time. Crit's going to be spotted. Going to try to tank this gank potentially. He'll do so successfully as he is avatossed into oblivion. And Arteezy, he's going to get spotted out, but of course the Blade Fury's TP will be successful. So I don't think we're going to be seeing an Abyssal Blade. What about... How would they stop Blade Fury TP?
Puck 25.
25. There's not until 25 though. That's feels pretty bad.
There's not good heroes for it on Aster, which is why I think the Jug is a pretty nice counter to TB. Like the way Jug does damage is through spin and through Omni Slash, both of which TB cannot trade with Jug during. You can't sunder him during the spin. With that being said, obviously what we just saw, very fantastic trade for Aster. Not even really a trade. They just run in, they smoke, they kill Crit. But more importantly, RTC TP's away, so they get the tier 2 tower for completely free. Or it costed them a smoke.
Yeah.
It's a very early tier 2 tower, which secures them Rosh. And we've talked about how important Rosh is on this patch.
Ad nauseum, some would say.
Yeah, some would say that.
RTC now has the Maelstrom. Trying to push this bottom tier 2, but the TPs are coming in from Aster, but you can see the Fireball expended from Abed, the newly picked up Shard, and XXS is dead. Siamese Cat looks to be next. He graves himself, actually a big wand. That was a lot of HP. It just doesn't have that much to begin with, it seems. So 2 down in favor of EG, and likely the tier 2 tower as well. So Aster not able to mount any kind of a defense here. And I figure they might try to push top a little bit, but it's just the illusions from TB at the moment.
Yeah, so now the map is kind of evened up. I get what Aster was going for there. You've a Timber Saw. This is a hero that you can kind of just plant in front of a tower. And if they could have defended that tier 2 for like 5 or 6 minutes while they have the tier 2 top taken on the EG side, then it probably means like within those 5 to 6 minutes, they're going to outfarm, and then maybe they get Rosh as well, which could mean the game. But it's just not a free Timber game. DK stun, like razor damage, Omni Slash, it is physical, but it is enough burst as well to kill Timber, especially before he has reactive armor stacks, which he didn't have any at the start of that.
Yeah, Ori's got Blink now on the puck. As Arteezy focusing on finishing the Mjolnir, so just really wants the attack speed. I mean, is this a build that you go like Swift Blink at some point, or is that too early? I assume like a Scotty would be needed.
Eventually, yeah. I think you go Scotty, and then Swift Blink is... Ooh, they're trying to go on him here.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a man to take anything off, and he's just going to die while silent. So a nice pick-off for Aster. And, I mean, you said this build has been somewhat normal, but it's definitely punished there. No way to dispel, as Crit gets taken out in addition, but EG gets something out of it. It's just Baboka in the mid lane. But this is going to open up Aster's potential Roshan, as this likely will be uncontested.
Crit could buy back.
Yeah, they could try. Plasma Field will be used by Nightfall as Fly. It's capturing a lot of attention from Aster as Abed pops the ult, trying to reset here. But they do lose Fly, but at the very least they prevent Roche from being taken out, so I think Fly will consider that a win in all honesty.
I don't even know if that was preventing the Roche, because I also kind of feel like Aster walked into the Roche pit, started hitting it, and they're like, we don't kill this that fast. And they walk out and just take the free kill and fly. Okay. That's kind of how that felt to me, because they were not really taking it that quickly. They don't have any good minus armor. EG on the other side, like if they go in with Crit, they'll actually be able to melt Roche.
Yep, Avatos Nightfall just gets obliterated. My goodness, absolutely destroyed. And Baboka and company, now they're thinking about Roche again.
We'll see if they walk out of this one.
Yeah, well, with Timber in here, that should set up it pretty nicely for Aster, who now have a 3K lead on EG, who, in our experience, usually come out of the laning stage with a decent lead themselves.
This is still a bit slow. I think they're getting the same read. They're like, okay, guys, like these are good pickoffs. We just don't have the heroes for this.
And, I mean, Monet is also very close to Scotty. This is a really fast Scotty.
Yeah, wow.
My goodness. So Dragonlance, Yasha, Scotty after this ancient camp, pretty much.
And did you know that TB has the highest win rate in the game versus Dragon Knight? It is a hard counter. It's very hard to burst.
The reflection as well.
And you reflect the DK for him. It destroys him. Ooh, EG.
EG.
Going for the sneak.
This is the sneak and a half right here, but you can see Arteezy getting stun locked by the old Roshan Monet. Okay, they're going to get the Chakram inside, and EG going to try to reset themselves. And Smoka from Aster. Yep, Ori gets in with the Waning Rift. Abed trying to get off the Dragon Tail, but not able to do so. Instead, he gets coiled along with Arteezy. The focus is on the Tiny to start things out, but the Grave is going to keep him alive. But it looks like Boboka will fall. We'll see if that's enough for EG to try to take Roche.
I don't think it is. I feel like they're going to walk in and be like, we can't take this.
No BKB available on Nightfall. Now he's already used it. Dragon Tail does connect onto the puck. This is going to be a very important kill for EG, but they're not able to stun lock him as Abed getting bursted. You can see attempted to TP out, but the Yules cancels, and there's the burst damage from XXS. And now surely this
is it. This has got to be it.
Surely, but you can see Crit thinking about jumping in. He is playing his favorite hero in Tusk.
Doesn't have a blink. He'd just be rolling in.
He's done it before. But no, this is going to go the way of Aster. So after about a 5-minute period, it feels like, finally Aster does get the first Roche of the game. And TB's going to hold that Aegis for 5 minutes.
Yeah. You know, Abed, he started off having a very nice game on the DK. He was huge.
Yeah.
But he's playing into Timber. He gets melted by Timber. He's playing into TB. Like we talked about, highest win rate in the game versus the DK. So the later and later this goes, the less the DK is going to be a factor.
Well, it's interesting because I remember plenty of games where Abed, like you look at the net worth halfway through the game on a DK, even though he's having impact, he's actually, this is pretty normal.
It's normal.
The difference is Nightfall is below him. That is unusual.
It is.
Especially when you're playing like a Razor type hero, you want to get full.
Yeah.
So he's definitely struggled this game.
It stems from how Aster shut him down in the laning phase. Are they going to make it go on XXS?
An attempt at Abed pops that ult. There's a static link coming in with the snowball, and that is enough. As XXS is taken out, 45 seconds of no Timber Saw.
Yeah, he had 0 reactive stacks, like literally 0. So if he was tanking the creep wave, maybe he survives there. But he was just trying to push out mid with the Chakram. Got a little too aggressive.
Yep, it happens.
Yeah, mid is such a deadly lane, man. I feel like that's where like everybody goes to push one wave and you just get picked off.
Yeah. Abed looking like the BKB will be next, but still a full recipe away. And I saw that Nightfall was working on the Refresher, which is no surprise. That's very standard. He's also a recipe away. So they have some pretty decent power spikes coming up in the next, I want to say, 3-4 minutes.
The one thing about
Which does align with the end of the Aegis.
It does, but the one thing about going Refresher build on Razor versus TB is that your armor is so low that in the link, he just kills you through BKB as Crit does go down.
Okay.
Dire's middle tower.
Yeah, he's just trying to take that top lane farm and Aster punish him with the jump that they have.
They get that pick off, and it looks like they'll get the tier 2 mid as well. As Monet going for a Daedalus. A lot of times we see the Silver Edge, but not worrying about the break onto the Dragon Knight this game, I
No,
suppose.
not needed.
Radiant structures.
He is shredding, and his net worth is pretty out of control. They're going to try to focus on the tier 3s, but there's a fortification from EG, so now that that's down, of course with the Aegis still for another 2.5 minutes, Aster not afraid to continue on here. And EG going to have to try to mount some sort of defense. Arteezy just pushing the creep wave in the mid lane to hopefully rely on backdoor protection, but it's not coming. There it is.
Top lane Nightfall too, he's pushing it out.
Yeah, that does save the racks.
He snuck out, he got the creep wave. So EG narrowly defends this.
In the most cowardly way possible.
It's quite cowardly. That's right. Very American. I gotta say.
That is a very American thing indeed. Nightfall in the trees. Oh, he's going to be spotted. Has to pop that BKB. Gets the static link off, and yeah. Will be forced to teleport back to base.
But Boca TP'd out too, actually. He's like, you know what? I wanted to take a fountain trip anyway.
It's delicious fountain. It's the nectar of the gods, as
really
they say.
Yeah.
Gaben's nectar.
Oh, yeah, that
In
sounds,
other words.
that sounds succulent.
Arteezy working on the Scotty, as we've talked about. Has the shard now. So the spins will actually do a lot of damage. That is the nice thing about this shard. I mean, so throughout the history of Dota, this hero, it feels like sometimes late game you spin, it's like, oh boy, I just screwed up. You just don't do enough damage, but now it scales really well. As crit looks to be dead. So Ori having himself a really good game on this puck. And Arteezy not fearing any cancellation of the TP. This time XXS will not deny any creep.
No, not the entire creep wave. That's right. Arteezy, he got it. Ori is building into Lincoln Sphere. He's going to have Sanj and Kaya in Lincoln Sphere. Okay. I don't know how they kill him when he gets these items, actually, with the EG heroes.
Yeah.
He's got to really screw up in order to die. And consider he's playing against a DK and he's only died once. He is not looking like a guy's going to screw up this game.
Does Lincoln's block? Yeah, it does block the Walrus kick as well if he ends up.
Yeah. Yep. It blocks Walrus kick.
Because you have to click on the target and then it's vector target. It's not vector target from the start.
No. So it's like it's one of the only current counters to Walrus kick, which it can sometimes feel like there aren't any if you're in a tough game versus Tusk. But Lincoln's is a good counter.
Well, either way, Crit's not gonna be getting that anytime soon.
Nah, it's not really even that great this game. Like you jump into it.
Kicking away a BKB Terrorblade sounds pretty
Yeah,
good.
but then you just die to the illusions and I don't know.
It's a way to reset.
I feel like if you run in versus the Aster lineup at all, if you jump in, you die. I guess you can use it for pickoffs though, like to start a fight on somebody who's like isolated, kick them farther away. But in terms of like if a fight is already going and he jumps in and kicks and Aster's all together, I think he just dies on Tusk and then the person that gets kicked gets away.
One aspect we haven't really talked about is what we just saw is Fly being able to enchant the Terrorblade illusion. So his farm should be higher than it has been in the past on this hero, which you can see already is. The Treads 4-stat.
Yeah, it's super nice playing Enchantress versus TB. They might be the best illusions in the game to get. Because with Naga, like, she gets 3 or 4 illusions, right? So you only get one of them. Ooh,
yeah, Avatos, Baboka. Like, Fly's going to be able to force step onto the cliff. It's not Arteezy, believe it or not. It is Fly. But I think with a lot of these kills, Fly is kind of there to tank the gank, and he does so successfully here. But with each one, Aster is increasing their lead ever so slowly. It is, well, I say 7. It was just 8 a second ago. That's a pretty hefty lead at this stage of the game. And Roche, we won't know for another minute and a half as Arteezy doing what he's done all game.
Coward.
I mean, surely an Abyssal Blade at some point, somebody. Are you going to really rely on... You don't care that much about it?
He's going to get it. Maybe like a...
How far is he from 25?
I think,
18 right now.
I think Puck 25 comes before Abyssal Blade would on a TB.
Yeah.
So I think you just wait.
It does feel like an ultra luxury item.
If he's just TPing away and spinning constantly, I don't think Aster really cares about that.
Yeah,
like, all right,
they are winning the game, so
yeah,
fair enough.
Good luck to your buildings. You can't spin and TP away from those.
Yeah, but the fortification, or not the backdoor protection, saved EG this last time.
Oh, Monet's got a DD bottled.
Oh boy.
Oh, that is.
Aster is fully smoked as well. Yeah. And Monet is an absolute beast. Has the Chrysalis, so not a full Daedalus quite yet, but he is certainly a fearsome creature at the moment. Gaben would be proud of this Terrorblade.
They're holding the D. They're hoping that Roche spawns.
Yeah, and
always got that in the bottle.
What are the power spikes for EG? We talked about the refresher from Razor, which he has. He's going for a casual plate mail right now. The next item for like the Scotty isn't. It's like a full ult orb away for Arteezy.
I actually think the plate mail is needed. I don't think they can fight until they have the plate mail. That's exactly why he has this queued up. Because if you play into TB, like TB versus Razor is such a common matchup, and you always run in with the refresher and think you can BKB, you cannot survive. You can't. You need the plate mail armor. Once you have the plate mail, you can actually suck enough damage from him that you can't survive.
Well, EG are gonna smoke up without that plate mail.
He has a Blast Rig, so he's got a little bit of plus armor.
Okay, pretty good. Nice disarm as well.
Yeah, that's genuinely very important.
Good drop from the jungle. Thanks, Gaben.
They're going for the full wraparound.
Yeah, he has 18 armor right now. His dragon form is popped. You can see Ori just relying on his twitchy fingers here for that instant dodge. And most of the smoke here is dissipated for EG, so don't really accomplish too much. They get some vision though, but still, Arteezy quite far away from this next power spike for himself. And Aster's gonna smoke, this time from EG's jungle.
Yeah, they're DD pop, so they really want to use this.
Yeah. This will be a really bad fight for EG, potentially, because of this DD. The coil onto 3 heroes! Oh my goodness, EG get initiated on. So much damage coming from Monet, and already 2 deleted from EG's perspective. And Aster, oh, that was disgusting. Pretty lucky to not have any cores die in that engagement.
Yeah, I was going to say, considering how that started, that's actually pretty good for EG that they just lose 2 supports. You're playing into
I feel like we've said that a lot this game, though. They keep dying. That's the problem.
Very cowardly, and they're doing a great job at it. They're excellent cowards. Yeah.
But Titan Sliver, that's maybe the best neutral in the game for Terrorblade.
That's right.
Yeah.
Although he prefers the Elephant Tunic. He wants that move. Oh no, it's coming.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's coming.
There's no way. So into the second Roche pit, Aster goes. Aegis will be theirs. Shard as well. Who picks up the Shard this time? Will we see some Demon Zeal action, or are we going to see the Flamethrower? I would say Flamethrower in all likelihood.
Yep.
Gives them a little extra push. And we can see the replay here of the DD initiation fight. Which, like you said, could have been a lot worse for EG, but they are dying more than Aster. That's my analysis.
Yeah, that's good.
That was a really good coil, though.
It was. It forces 2 BKBs. Fortunately for EG, they can just BKB and TP out. However, Ori, once he hits level 25, the game will end on a fight like that. He's got an arcane rune too. EG, they keep engaging in these fights into these huge runes for Aster. Aster's been doing an amazing job at rune control this game.
Nightfall with a haste, as if he needs to be any faster. Dragon form popped as well. EG on the back foot, down a significant amount at only the 32-minute mark. And Baboka looks to be tanking the smoke gank potentially. It's going to pop here. He's in the trees though. He has the Lotus applied Avatos onto Arteezy. He just blinks away. EG are just getting nothing out of any of these engagements. Fly gets deleted right off the bat. Nightfall with the BKB and the Refresher Orb. See the Omni Slash being applied. Monet taking a lot of damage, but there is the Grave to save him. Of course, he still has Aegis, and will actually sunder Arteezy on top of all of that, adding insult to injury. There's a buyback from Crit, but Nightfall will get out. We've seen a lot of BKB TPs or Blade Fury TPs this game from EG. They cannot kill anyone, it feels like.
No, but that is Omni Slash down. That's cooldowns from EG. They get Abed. They don't even lose the Aegis on Monet.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty free tower to siege. Yeah, and Aster, they're playing super aggressive close to EG's fountain. It's like,
this is clinical. This game has honestly not felt super close at any point past like the 5-minute mark.
no.
Like the laning save wasn't a shellacking by any means, but we're used to seeing EG come out of the laning stage with a significant lead, like literally every game. Like I can't remember the last time.
Yeah, Nightfall got worked in this game. He has not had the impact that he usually does when we see EG. Really great call from Aster and amazing timber pick as well that allowed them to do this. That smoke break from Baboka, by the way, was
really good.
Very pretty. That is some good stuff. Breaks the smoke.
And the problem is
survives.
they don't really have, like, the closest thing they have is like a plasma field, I guess, but they don't really have like a Night Stalker type hero that if there's somebody in the trees, you have no way to really see them initially.
No, they need a high ground to put a ward on. And in that situation, there is no high ground. Aster had vision.
Yep, so 22k lead for Aster. As we see the avalanche from Baboka. Toss back Fly. Does get off his heel for the time being. Arteezy trying to focus down XXS. They're doing a decent job actually get the Dragon Tail mid-timber chain, but they've already lost Crit. Buyback now on the Fly. XXS is saved thanks to the Grave, as Monet, still with 2 minutes left on the Aegis, has no problem fighting in melee form. Nightfall dies yet again. Arteezy, he's Blade Fraying, doing actually a decent amount of damage. Looks like he's going to be fine. Abed, with that BKB, will have to hightail it back to his base. So they do get the Aegis, but again, they don't really get anything else. That kill count has been stuck at 9 seemingly for the entire game. They started 9-0, in case you're wondering. As the tier 3 tower, this looks to be the push for mega creeps from Aster. Actually, he didn't take the sliver. You're right. Yeah, he ended up keeping the
Oh, no, not this again.
Arteezy, yep.
Come on.
There. Very nicely done. Abed getting chased down. XXS with the flamethrower that burns right through the dragon scale. Monet and company resigned to just take this tier 3 tower. They obviously want to kill Arteezy. They're very frustrated that he's only died once because the Blade Fairy TP is uncounterable.
I don't know if it matters. Doesn't look like it matters at all.
Like it has extended the game a couple times, but
it has. It's
not helped them come back at all.
It seems like it's just making the loss more painful. They're just suffering.
They're just giving extra time for Bulba to strategize for game 2. You know? Yeah. In fact, looking to game 2, what do you think can change with the draft? Like, is there anything with the draft, or is it more like how the lanes went out? Obviously, Nightfall dying twice in the landing stage is something we don't expect to happen, which I don't expect that to happen in game 2. But was it a little overconfidence? Like, what do you think this stems from?
I feel like Aster just kind of outplayed them. The last pick Timber was great, but I think any hero that could be left alone would also be good. Maybe Aster just has figured out the Razor. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, Abed with the BKB gets the stomp. You can see no damage follow-up whatsoever as Crit is going to die to his own devices here. XXS looks to be fine. And Ori coming in to help finish the job here for Aster as they are coming in with a 1-game lead in a very disgusting fashion. Basically putting EG in their place after this performance. They look, it's just 1 game, but Aster looks incredibly good as the GGs come out.
Was that a shellacking?
Oh yeah, 100%.
What level of shellacking? What are we giving that?
That's a good question, Jenkins.
Microphone.
Yeah, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me, buddy. Of course. So, yeah, Aster takes a 1-game lead in this 2-game series. I would say this was probably... it's not a Gaben.
It's not a Gaben.
No, it's not a Gaben.
Regular.
That's the way we can filter, so we can get rid of the Gabens out of our thoughts here.
Gabens are gone. That's about 4 or 5 levels.
And then we always forget the order of these.
It's
maybe Monumental.
Mega or Monumental. Probably whatever the lower one is.
Yeah.
Which I'll say
it's
is
a lower shellacking.
Monumental.
Yeah, we'll go with Monumental shellacking.
Monumental shellacking.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. But EG, they did not look particularly good, I will say. But Aster do take this game, and it is in such a convincing fashion that, I mean, they're on my radar. I mean, they've been on everybody's radar for quite a while. Obviously, not having Chinese team in the last major, haven't gotten to see them on the big stage for quite a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Let's see what the panel has to say about this game number 1.
We do have many things to say because, like it was pointed out, it is the first time we're seeing some Chinese during an international DPC event. So, Sheep, Gods, how did it compare? Were you sufficiently impressed? Did it blow all of your expectations out of the water?
It blew my tiny mind.
It blew my tiny
That's
mind. I couldn't tell you anything about it, but it was amazing. No,
I mean, God, we expected China to do well. LGD have been owning. They crushed their games. RNG looking very good too. Aster showing up as well. It's very good, like very clean. They got good drafts. They're executing it well. And Monet, I mean, this whole old narrative of like, oh, China's so slow, Dota is so dead. These Chinese teams have come out like for blood. They're moving so quick.
They have something to prove, and they are absolutely proving it at the moment. Every time we've seen them, they've been looking great across all of the streams. But with the lineup that Aster did have here, we saw them take great objectives, but also initiation for fights.
Yeah, I think they just had multiple ways to start these fights. Like they kind of put themselves in this position where they got to pick and choose which fights they took. And when you've got this carry advantage, it just meant they would only take fights where, you know, their TP continues to get more and more farm. He doesn't have to join these fights. And it just felt like the game was so easy because of the way this TP was so uncountered and unchecked. And at least that's kind of what my takeaway from this game.
Not only the TB, but the Timber as well. He only died twice during this game. He was kind of doing a lot when it came to those initiations as well and the team fight. Were you impressed and expected it to do that well, or was there an extra level of, damn, this Timber looked great?
I thought the Timber was cool because it was kind of like the counter strat to EG, where EG wanted, to me, it looked like to kind of really push the tempo, take a lot of early towers, and Timber's like, no, you can't do that. We're going to shut that down. And then TB was the person that they built their strat around. Timber didn't really mesh with the other heroes. It just prevented EG from doing what they wanted to do.
Do you feel that EG missed a lot of their timings, didn't take advantage of when they had potential power spikes or openings?
I don't think so. I think it was really hard for them because of that Timber pick, protecting all their objectives. And, like, you have a Jog who's going Midas. Midas is an item that I actually think is pretty good and decent in Europeast. We saw VTune buying it, like, a lot on, like, his life series and stuff. The item I've heard, like, talk between pros of, oh, it might be, like, rising and, you know, this is good item. But you see in this game, like, your Jog struggles to get involved. Your TB is very good at getting involved. He just has meta and he can come and push a tower with you. He can take a good fight. He's so strong. And I think, like, EG's lineup was just really bad at getting pickoffs because everything, they had like one blink stun in this DK. And like when you pop down someone and a dazzle's behind him, like it's impossible to kill him, especially when you have such synergy with a TB who can always get Sunder off as a result.
Do you feel then that EG needed to have a little bit of a change up in their support, not necessarily hero, but maybe a playstyle, or was it more just very much the hero picks weren't really setting them up for success against this lineup?
It's hard. I think they tried to take their EG approach, which is, we love winning our lanes. Let's pick an Enchantress. We've got Crit playing tough. The lanes didn't go as well as they typically do. I think when you play these better teams, like you're just not going to win your lanes as hard as you maybe would if they had these heroes against another team. In fact, their Tusk Razor lane lost Dazzle and TB. TB is a much stronger laner than he used to be with some of the recent buffs he's had over the last couple of patches. And as a result, like I think EG came out that lane stage with a slight deficit, and that made things really tricky for them.
Do you think we're going to see a change up in, I guess, the map movements for EG, a pressure sort of scenario, or where is a bigger change going to be outside of just the draft? You can say, I have no idea. We can just focus on Aster instead.
It felt like they just didn't have enough of like a game plan. You know what I mean? Like when I say, they have the Blinks on DK, well, that's already countered by Dazzle that came out like